Hey! Welcome to the dead, delayed, resurrected episode of Blackwolf's Game Prison. Today we are finally playing Bullet Witch. This has been a long time coming. Thanks to Windows 10, the original version of this video was long dead. So now I'm back again, making the whole thing again. Thanks Windows 10. Anyway, this is a third-person shooter, released in 2007 for the Xbox 360 and ported to the PC in 2018. And it's a good thing too, because this game isn't backwards compatible on the Xbox One. And what was originally DLC on the Xbox is now just part of the game. Anyway, let's skip the intro. Nothing much important happens here. Alright, so this game takes place in October, meaning that this does qualify as a Halloween game. And stop! You see this raven? You see how ugly this raven is? Well, yeah, 2007. 2007 had one of my least favorite graphical trends of all time. You notice it in a lot of games back then, such as Oblivion or Just Cause. They have this ugly lighting and everything that makes it look like it was smeared in oil, and there's a bunch of light refracting off of it. Now this game isn't the worst offender of this, but it's still pretty bad. You see the sunset in the background that looks more like a nuclear bomb going off? Yeah, well in Oblivion that's what the whole game looks like. You look across the horizon, it's gonna look like a nuke is going off. And going a little bit further, you see how this rooftop has a bunch of weird sheen on it? That's not what rooftops look like. I've seen a lot of rooftops in my time, and that is not what they look like. Also, the cutscene audio is bugged so that if you have the music turned off, none of the audio in the cutscene plays. This, however, does not occur on the Xbox version for some reason. Actually, the sound design in general seems better on the Xbox version. Let's talk about the character design. Now, Alicia is what I would describe as very Japanese. I mean, seriously, this outfit is absolute madness. This is not something I would go into battle with under any circumstance. I know in wrestling, women tend to wear less clothing so they can be more flexible, but you're not wrestling in this game. You're shooting people, and you're being shot at. So this is not the clothing you should be bringing to a shootout. It's also not the clothing you should be wearing in general if you're a witch. If I were a witch, I would prefer to be undercover as much as possible, not drawing attention to myself, and this definitely draws attention. Moving over to the enemies, I think this design is awesome. I don't know why they don't have a shirt. Come to think of it, none of the enemies have shirts. They don't have lips either, which means it should be impossible for them to say certain words, but they do it anyway somehow. They also have a bunch of grenades which seem to be nailed into their body, but they never actually use grenades in-game. Alright, now let's talk about probably the first thing you notice. The skin. They even comment on your skin in the cutscene. It looks like they all have the same skin, but somehow it has the teeth. Yeah, that's some impressive craftsmanship to have the teeth intact, especially since there's no skull anymore. They also seem to have tattoos, which raises the question of how? I mean, are there some demons who just go out of their way to open tattoo parlors? What is demon society like? Do they trade skins? Is there a skin economy? What exactly would dictate the value of a skin? We'll get into all that a lot more later, but for now I'd like to mention how much of a dick move it was for Alicia to let those people get killed to make a cool entrance. So, after you kill these three guys who weren't anywhere near where they were at the end of the cutscene, the voices in your head start telling you to do stuff.
That putrid stench of death. The demon here, it's even stronger than I feared. It seems this city is also doomed to destruction.
This is the darkness, and it's never explained. More on that later. Later on, we get a new enemy. This brain thing. Yeah, it just kind of floats there waiting for you to kill it, making weird noises, but it somehow has the power to make force fields. Ooh, there's an enemy with a grenade launcher. Check this out. Yeah, you recognize that sound? You probably do. Here's a little refresher if you're not sure.
Yes, I bet you have.
Yeah, they just straight up stole the sound from Han Solo's blaster. How did they get away with that? I mean, it's not like they could argue it wasn't the sound. It's clearly the same sound. On the topic of the grenade launcher enemy, watch my health as I take a direct hit from a grenade. Yeah, I don't go around getting shot by grenades often, but if I did, I imagine it would do a lot more damage than that. Now, I'm playing on normal difficulty, which is probably what most people play on. I actually have evidence of this, because if we go over to the Steam achievements, we can see that beating the game on normal is the most common achievement for beating the game on a difficulty. This is kind of a shame, because I think the game really shines when you're playing on the hardest difficulty. But to unlock the hardest difficulty, you have to beat the game 5 times at least. And it's not like other games where if you beat the hardest difficulty, you get the achievements and rewards for all the other difficulties too. No, you have to play all of the difficulties individually, meaning that if you want to unlock the second hardest difficulty, you have to beat the game on easy, then medium, then hard, which I think is just ridiculous. I've never seen that happen in a game before or since. Probably for good reason, too. I mean, playing on easy is really easy and boring. Heck, even on normal it's too easy. Let's not forget about the grenade launcher clip from earlier. What sucks about this is that the Xbox version is actually harder. And not just because you have to use a controller instead of a mouse, but when porting the game to PC, they actually nerfed the enemies. So now they hit a lot less hard and you hit a lot harder. This kinda sucks because the Xbox version incentivizes you to use magic way more than this version. Oh, it fires missiles! Let's try this out. Well, that's better. The whole back area this APC in is kinda weird. There's not really a point to it, there's just kind of some enemies and civilians in here. It's not even essential to go this way. I didn't even know this was here for my first 5 playthroughs. This is where we get our first real look at the destruction physics of the game, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, that was pretty close. $1.30 for gasoline? Fuck you, 2007. While this game does take place in 2013, all this stuff really started going down in 2007. Referring back to the intro, I think the latest we can push this is to 2011. All the prior stuff happening, the world economy would probably still continue as normal, but legions of demon soldiers is probably where the line gets drawn. Now, the starting cutscene of this level says this takes place in the West Coast. Now, gas prices in the West Coast in 2011 were around $4 a gallon. But if we're being generous and saying they stopped changing it at 2007, it's still only a $1 difference at $3. Either way, this isn't correct, so I'm gonna have to dock points from this game for that. Here at the end of the level is where we actually have to use the lighting for the first time. Now this is really cool and it's pretty effective at killing things. This animation has to play every single time and it's long. It's cool the first couple times, but after a while it just gets annoying. Wonder where this bridge goes. Oh, nowhere. And there's nothing in this tunnel either. I checked. Well, back on the other side of the bridge, after we kill enough enemies, another one of those brain guys spawns, but this one can lift up cars and throw them. Now, before, all the enemies that hit you didn't really hit you all that hard. But this guy, if one of these cars hits you even just a little, it's instant death, no matter what difficulty you're playing on. That's a pretty big difference in damage from almost none to bam, you're dead instantly. So we killed this thing and it's time to go to the city. Wonder what city this is. It's on the West Coast. I don't seem to recall any kind of city like this on the West Coast. I mean, a city on the water with one bridge leading to it? This is a pretty big looking city, too. I can't imagine how horrid the traffic must be on this bridge. I mean, there are 2 lanes with 1 exit. Or maybe this is an entrance? I don't know. Actually, judging by the road, there's 0 lanes. There aren't any lines drawn or anything. How are you supposed to know where to drive on this bridge? Yeah, this is just a disaster waiting to happen. Maybe the demons did us a favor. So after you beat a level, you get a newspaper that details something you did in the level. It can change based off if you didn't blow the gas station up, or did blow the gas station up, or a series of other things in different levels, which is pretty cool actually. But it raises the question, what is the Daybreak Times? Who is printing it? Who is distributing it, and to where? More on that later. When you beat a level, you're graded on your performance and you get points for it. Now these points actually matter, because they correspond to how many upgrade points you get in the upgrade screen. This game also has leaderboards, but like any old game, the leaderboards have been hacked, so it really doesn't matter. We'll never really know who the real master of Bullet Witch is. This is where I stand according to it. You don't actually get enough skill points to unlock all the skills on your first couple of playthroughs. I mean, I unlocked every difficulty, and by the time I was done with that, I still didn't have every upgrade. So what you're going to want to do is just go to the minigun upgrade and dump everything you have in it. It's the best gun in the game. It'll easily carry you through the entire thing. And yeah, that's about it for level 1. So, level 2. And it's nighttime now. It looked to be about mid-evening when we started to cross this bridge, and now it's nighttime. The bridge didn't really look that long, but hold on. There's no way this is the same bridge, because this time it actually has lines on the road. There wasn't any lines on the other side. Also, yeah, it is the only way in and out. And wow, the moon is massive. That's a problem. And this city is on the water, too. If the moon was this close to Earth, I think New York would be completely flooded. Building a city on the water when the moon is this close is a terrible idea. All it takes is one tidal wave and this shit is wiped out. Especially since there's only one road. The only other way in or out we see is an airport. I mean, there might even be earthquakes and volcanic eruptions due to this. This is a big deal, and I feel like it's not brought up whatsoever. I mean, the intro talks about diseases, war, but this is probably infinitely more catastrophic than any of those. Anyway, it's here where we meet the man himself, Maxwell Cougar.
I'm in charge of these troops. I'm Maxwell Cougar. We don't see many soldiers dressed like you up here. Anyway, look, I know you're the one with the demonic. It's nice to meet you. Not very friendly, are you? Well, this place is a real disaster area. We're evacuating citizens to the airport. However, with all these monsters, I'm not sure we can make it.
Well, I've got some business to take care of, so if you'll excuse me.
You finally open your mouth and that's all you have to say? You're a tough lady, but I can't let you kill yourself. I'm assigning some guards to watch you. Jones! Nash! So, what's your name, anyway?
Alicia.
Yeah, Japanese people make the best Americans. Now, Jones and Nash aren't exactly throwaway characters, as they're actually kind of significant. Heading on over to the Bullet Witch official website that's still up, you can see an interview with Nash detailing the events of what happens in this level. Yeah, the Bullet Witch website, that's still up. I'll bring this website back up later.
Just for a second.
Some of these streetlights are still on. Is there power here? How? Who's managing the power? Are the demons working the power plant? I don't know. It's a mystery. Oh, and here's a tip for a 15-year-old game. If you go down this random alleyway, there's a lady who will give you bread. It heals you. This is kind of random. This only happens one other time in the game as far as I can tell, and it's in this level. Okay, this police car says New Norwich Police Department. So I guess the city is called New Norwich, but there's a bus stop right next to it that says San Francisco. What? Again, you have to have the music on for the cutscenes to have audio, but I'll be honest, I don't really like the music. It kind of ruins the moodiness of the game. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's kind of generic and not really the atmosphere this game goes for. I mean, this is a dark, moody, gothic city, and we're playing generic movie score action music. This whole game has some pretty good Halloween atmosphere. And as I said before, it is in October, so it is a Halloween game. I mean, why are there 2 fire hydrants here? Who knows? It's Halloween, anything can happen. And it's not exactly explained why we're doing what we are. I mean, this kind of seems like aimless wandering. We go here, we kill 4 of the brain guys, and we go back out. We can blow up a semi-truck, that's pretty cool. And despite being a witch, fire doesn't hurt you at all. Look at this building. What is up with that? Are there any architects that'll let me know if that's actually feasible? It doesn't look feasible to me, but I don't know. Uh-oh, here comes the giant. Now, stop. I'm gonna read you the entry in the help page. Giant geists fused together from evil souls of several hundred people. Their minds are in constant chaos. All that's clear inside them is their drive to kill. Between their sheer mass and the firepower of the cannons grafted onto their arms, 10 of them together could mow down any army in the world. Any army in the world. Wow. I want you to keep that line in mind when you watch this next clip. Any army in the world, huh? Well, I'm convinced. I mean, that was only half my ammo. Don't get me wrong, they certainly are massive, but oh! Yeah, see what I was talking about earlier? If anything hits you, you're dead instantly. And I had full health. What hit me? That guy's corpse? His dead body killed me? It wasn't even going that fast. That would have been what, like a scrape or a bruise at worst? And I'm dead from it? You're telling me I can take a missile full brunt of the explosion and be fine, but some guy hits me sliding across the floor at 2 miles an hour and I'm dead? And you know what that means? The giants are literally more deadly when they're dead than when they're alive. Well, I guess 10 of them could take out any army in the world. They just have to go and kill themselves on them. Yeah, that's not going to happen again. I'm going to wait behind this wall. Getting a closer look at this thing, we can see that there is indeed a giant minigun on its arm. Where did they get that? Did someone make it? Did the demons make it? Who knows? It's Halloween. There's also a bunch of eyeballs on their head, some extra mouths on their neck, and yeah, they're also not wearing shirts. This is another pretty good monster design, but it's not my favorite. Then after some more aimless wandering, we end up in Times Square? I mean, it looks a lot like Times Square, but it's not. New York is on the other side of the country. This is the West Coast. And see, there's that weird building again. We're just going in circles. What are we doing here? After, you guessed it, more aimless wandering, we finally find what we're looking for.
It's here. It seems to have absorbed enough souls. This one here is stronger than expected.
Okay, now I like the monster design in this game, but this is kinda, I don't know, it kinda looks too cartoony. I mean, the skulls on its legs, the face on its chest, the weird lava arm. What is this thing? Why would a demon choose to take this form? Why can the other demons talk, but this one can't? It just roars. This is by far the biggest thing we've seen so far. Why is it so ineffective at killing us? It doesn't even use its snakes. It just throws little souls at us. Well, even though it can't really kill us, we can't kill it either. It has a force field or something, and we can't get through it, so we just have to run away for now. Level 3! And we're in the sewers now. Not where I really want to be. Now, I wouldn't think to make the follow-up to a level filled with big battles and large environments to explore with a very linear sewer. It's not that... Hey, did you see that? The subtitles broke. Alright, here's a challenge for you. There's gonna be another error in the subtitles a little later. See if you can spot it. Yeah, there's not much to see down here. We'll skip to the cutscene and then skip to when we're out of the sewers.
I've seen a lot of things on the battlefield. But I'll never get used to seeing a buddy die! Alicia, you know it too. The demons are increasing every day. Unless we stop them, humanity will be wiped out. If you want to get rid of those bastards, then read this.
I just got the most disturbing prank call. They said that the airplane my beloved was on had gone down. The news is showing all the grisly details right now. But it's like they're talking about some distant foreign country. Oh God! There's no answer to my prayers. I never feel a moment of rest or comfort. Only a wrenching sadness and a despair that grows and grows. Finally, I found the reference I'd been looking for. The invisible God wouldn't bend the laws that govern life, but the devil. Beyond that cursed village, deep in the forest, is a singularity. It has the power to return life with the power of darkness. Time is nothing more than torture for me. Even if I could live on for many years, what would be the point? Tomorrow I set out on my journey to bring my beloved back to life.
So what's this?
It's a journal found by our intelligence people. It belonged to an archaeologist that disappeared 5 years ago. HQ sent out a lot of well-armed people to try to find him, but none of them ever returned.
So then, it must be the forest he mentioned.
Yeah, you deserve to know. The demons are all coming from there. All of us, all the remaining forces from each city, we're about to start a large-scale op in that forest. Alicia, when I saw you fight, I knew it. That power of yours, we need it right now. We need the power you've got. Please, help us out on this operation.
This fool is nothing but an encumbrance, but the forest he speaks of is the place you're searching for.
Tell me the plan.
So that was a pretty big exposition dump. Now I noticed Maxwell said the cities when he was referring to the large-scale op, which raises the question, what cities? We don't ever see any other cities in the whole game, and yup, again, I'm gonna have to ask you to save that for later. Believe me, all this will come back at the end. I have a lot to say about this. So after we finally get out of the sewers and into more linear tunnels, we encounter a new enemy. They're infected forms of the civilians we've been seeing up till this point. And this is probably one of the gnarliest infections I've seen, probably since Left 4 Dead. I mean, their whole head is replaced by this thing, and they attack you by exploding their ribs, I think, out of their whole body. I mean, I think it's their ribs. It's coming from where their ribs would be, and there's a massive splash of blood as if their flesh is bursting open. They even have the ability to spit fire for some reason. And take a look at their animations. Look at the way they run around, especially the way they die. And I don't even know what to make of the sounds they make. I mean, how do you even come up with that? What direction do you give the voice actor when trying to make something like that? Yeah, I'm gonna need you to sound like a frightened chicken that's rolling around in a washing machine if you could do that for me. Thanks. It's not exactly clear if the host of this thing are still conscious or not. Their bio in the help section seems to imply that they are still alive, which is unfortunate. And we are finally out of the sewers. For real this time. Now, it's kind of weird that this train stop doesn't actually have a train stop. It's kind of a random door on the railway that goes to stairs that lead up to the terminal. The plate above the door claims that it's an emergency exit, but I don't quite understand how this is supposed to be an emergency exit. I mean, like I said before, this is not a train stop. So, if you're trying to get away from some danger, all you're gonna do is end up in the subway, stranded. You can't get on the tracks because you're gonna get hit by a train if you do that. This whole airport section is kind of a mess, to be honest. I mean, look at this terminal. What is up with this terminal? Okay, so we have some stores around, some seats, that's pretty normal. And we also have the place where the TSA steals your salsa. Now, this is where I get a little confused. The bag carousels are on the other side of the TSA checkpoint. I've never seen a TSA checkpoint on the departure area. But then I'm thinking this isn't the departure or the boarding area. No, this seems more like a staff area, because the only exits from this place lead onto the runway. I think there are pretty rare scenarios where passengers are boarded on the runway, but not in most airports. Granted, the doors do say staff only, runway, but there doesn't seem to be any other exit to this room other than back through the TSA checkpoint. So if this is a staff only area, why is there a checkpoint? If this is a boarding area, where are you supposed to actually board? If this is a departure area, why is there another TSA checkpoint? I suppose this could be both the boarding and the departing area, but that seems like a terrible idea, especially since this is the only other way into the city other than the highway. And also, the runway itself seems to be quite lacking for a city of this scale. I mean, at a glance, this looks like a big city, so I bet a lot of people are coming and going from here. It's kind of obscured by fog, but I can almost make out another runway in the background. Most airports will have 3 or 4 runways. Up here, the only real airport around is in Anchorage, and that has, I think, 3 runways, and the population of Anchorage is, I think, about 300,000. Now, I think this city is based off New York. Well, New York has a population of 8 million, which is a little bit more than Anchorage. New York City has 3 airports dedicated to just New York City. So, once again, this city only has 1 road and 1 airport. Yeah, living in this place would suck. I think the demons might have actually improved it. Can you imagine living in that suburb from the first level and having to commute to this city every day? Now that's real hell. Anyway, we're treated to yet another new monster. And this is definitely my favorite design in the whole game. I don't really have to say anything. I think it kind of speaks for itself. So after you kill enough brains, you're finally given permission to leave. Luckily, there's a fully fueled, intact plane and someone who knows how to pilot. Actually, never mind. There are 2 fully fueled, fully functional planes that we know how to pilot.
The plane's about to take off, so I better go.
Okay, sweetheart. Have a great time. And be careful.
I'll buy you something nice. I love you, Papa.
I love you too, Alicia.
If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have stood a chance. I just want to say thanks.
You're welcome. But when this operation is over, take me back to the city. That demon. Damn it. I can't just leave it like that.
Speaking of demons, Alicia, you look like a normal human being, but that power of yours isn't human. I don't know. It's more like...
More like... a witch.
Yeah. And that giant gun is like your broom, huh? I thought that witches were friends with demons. So then why are you fighting against them anyway? Ah, shit. What the hell is that thing?
I didn't expect a flying demon at this altitude. Alicia, it will be difficult to attack from inside here.
Then I'll just have to... go out and meet it!
Okay, so Alicia just blew the door off the plane at 10,000 feet. So everyone's dead. Good to know. I mean, cargo holds in cargo planes are pressurized from what I understand. And if you blow a hole in the plane, everyone's gonna get sucked out. And on top of that, I think she just outright killed herself. I mean, she jumped out of the door of a moving plane. I think we're supposed to think she landed on the wing, but I think that thing on the left is the wing. And I think she's not anywhere near it. From this perspective, it looks like she's just going to fly down to the ground and go splat like a bug. And somehow, at the end of this cutscene, you're on top of the plane. And the door's just fine. Alright, so this is the first boss. Now, I think the theme, design, and presentation of this boss are great. The boss itself, I don't know. All you really have to do is shoot these eyeballs and then lightning him 3 times. Because of course 3 times. And the only way he really has to fight back is these eyeballs. It's more annoying than anything. They don't really kill you, they just kind of inconvenience you. Every time you get hit by one of them, you get stunned, and yes, you can be chain stunned. But what absolutely kills this is the fact that you have to do the long animation for the lightning spell every time. And guess what? The eyeballs can knock you out of it. And guess what? Yes, you have to do it again. Most bosses would gain new attacks or change the strategies for their next phases. This boss just sends more eyeballs, which just gives you more magic. It makes me more pissed off because they keep making me do the lightning spell all over again. The actual most difficult part of this boss battle is that apparently the plane driver's drunk. He keeps tilting the plane for no reason. So if you get stuck on a wing, you might not be able to get back to the top of the plane for a while, until he decides to tilt the other way for no apparent reason.
Alicia, that was a hell of a job you did. And now, I've got some good news. We'll be landing at HQ soon.
Thank you, you're amazing.
I've got some bad news too. An engine took a hit.
We'll make an emergency landing. Brace for impact! Alicia, just one thing. No more shooting at 10,000 feet.
Well, I hate to leave you on a cliffhanger, but I need a break. It's not going to be like the last break, I promise. If you're wondering why I'm splitting this up into 2 parts, well, I just don't have the hard drive space for all this footage, so bye!